Welcome to the Unfiltered Tea with Evie podcast, where personal brands and service providers come for honest anti-sleaze marketing advice that actually works. I'm Evie Tavares, founder of Evie Tavares Branding, and if you're tired of manipulative tactics, sleazy marketing strategies, and feeling like you're the only one who doesn't have your business all together, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we're diving into copywriting, personal branding strategy, business mindset, and balancing business with kids and real life. I'll be bringing in some epic guests, including business experts, to share their insights and real experiences in life and business. You can expect real life stories, tactical tips, and the occasional spicy Evie moment, all served up with your morning cup of tea. So grab your tea, get cozy, and let's get into it. Welcome back to the Unfiltered Tea with Evie. Today we're diving into a topic that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I became especially aware of over the last year, and it's something that I think the more awareness that we bring to it, the better, as both business owners and as consumers. What I want to dive into today is anti-sleaze marketing. This comes from not only me as a copywriter, but me as marketing my own business, helping others to market their businesses and to talk about what they do. And there was a time this year that I had a client who wanted to do some not so anti-sleaze things when we were working together for copywriting. And it made me realize how prevalent it really is and how important it is for us to bring awareness to it and to talk about it. When it comes to anti-sleaze marketing, there's really two big factors that I've noticed, especially, that really come to mind for me that I think, again, it's so important to be aware of these things and to call them out, because if we recognize them as business owners and as consumers, then we kind of stop it from happening and also save ourselves from making bad buying decisions based off of these gross tactics. So the first thing that I would say I have seen and experienced, and friends and family have experienced this, is false urgency and scarcity. And using urgency and scarcity in copywriting is a great tool. It's great for psychological triggers, for the buyer journey, to put a little bit of not pressure, but a little bit of urgency in them making a decision, especially if there is a legitimate urgency, like the doors are closing on your program, or their offer is only open for so long, or there's only so many spots and then it's actually filled. But what some people might not realize is that people use these tactics when they're not legitimate. And to me, that just feels really gross. And I feel like to people's audiences, it feels gross too. And the biggest thing that I believe is that we are in a trust recession, and building trust with your audience is not only more important than ever, but also more difficult than ever. People need more touch points to really see who you really are and to recognize your values in order to connect with you on that deeper level before they're willing to actually purchase from you. And when you use things like false urgency and scarcity, it breaks that trust so quickly. It takes a very long time to build it, takes an instant to break it. And this is one of the biggest ways that I see it broken in marketing and copywriting, especially. The second factor that I've noticed a lot that really just makes me feel gross too. It's always like a gut feeling of what feels good and what doesn't. And for me, this one is pain point poking. Again, with copywriting and with buyer psychology, yes, humans are psychologically wired to be more adverse to fear and negativity. And these are tactics that work when they're used properly, but they can really manipulate people into making a buying decision that's not actually right for them when it's not used in a legitimate way. And I believe that pain point poking can be done in a tasteful way, in a way that feels good. And that's not making your audience feel like crap. Like, we see it all the time of if you're not doing this, then you're doing it wrong. If you don't hire me, then you'll never succeed. That's a bit dramatic, but that's essentially what some people are saying when they're really, really harping on the pain point poking. The way to kind of steer away from that is to make it more that you're acknowledging where they're at, you're meeting them where you're at. So whether you've actually experienced the pain that they're going through, or your past clients have experienced the pain that they're going through, Show them that you understand that. Instead of making them feel bad about where they're at, make them feel seen about where they're at, and show them that you really understand the emotion behind what they're going through and why they're looking for that solution. And then that's when we can build that trust and that connection with them in order to really show your offer as the true solution, because you get it. You've been where they've been, or you have clients who have been where they've been, and you've seen what the ultimate outcome is that comes through your solution or your offer or whatever it may be. So we're really painting the picture of the before, where they're at. Yes, we're acknowledging the pain and the struggles that they have, but we're not sitting in that and sitting in that negative energy. We're moving on into the outcome and the positive outcome of working with you. And with marketing in general, I think it's important to really sit down and get really clear on what your values are and who you are, so that you can find a way to market and sell that feels natural and good to you. Because when you're selling in a way that feels good and genuine to you, your audience picks up on that, and they're smart. Your audience is smart. They can tell when you're kind of faking it. They can tell when you're not being legitimate, and those are red flags for them. So making sure that the way that you're showing up and the way that you're selling is aligned with your values. So for example, anti-sleaze marketing is one of my values. So in the way that I show up for my clients, I make sure that I am being honest, showing up with integrity, and showing up as my true self. And I also encourage my clients to do the same. So when I have clients who might want to use false urgency, that's a no-go for me. I'm not going to write that in there for you. And that's just a line that I've drawn, and I attract the right people because of it. And there are some people who are going to be able to sell in a different way to you. There are people who can kind of put that pressure on. I do have clients who, when I'm writing for her, I can put a little bit more pressure on, but it's not in a gross way. It's in a way that's aligned with who she is and aligned with her audience and what her audience really listens to and takes well to. But that's after, again, knowing her and knowing her audience. And I really believe that when it comes to marketing and your strategies, it's important to not just take what other people are saying and think it's going to work perfectly for you, because other people might have different values. They might have a different way of speaking. They might have a different audience. There's so many different nuances in there. You need to find what works for you, and you need to do that gut check to make sure that what you're doing is actually aligned with you. And that's what's going to make it sustainable. That's what's going to make it work. And that's what's going to make it possible for you to build that trust and that connection with your audience. And going into 2026 and beyond, I believe beyond, that's going to be the most important thing when it comes to selling and marketing. So as business owners and as consumers, I think it's really important to keep an eye out for these kinds of things, like the false urgency, the pain point poking, so that we can make better buying decisions as consumers, but also empower our audiences to make better buying decisions when they're buying from us as well. That's how you really build something that's going to last and something that's going to feel good for you in the long term and feel good for your audience as well. As that is one of my top values as a copywriter, as a marketer, as a human being, just being anti-sleaze and using integrity and honesty and authenticity when you're showing up for your business, when you're marketing, and when you're selling. I know this is a bit of a shorter episode today, but I feel like it's something that's so important to me and so important in general moving forward as business owners, that it needs to be said and it needs to be called out. And I'm noticing it more and more. I specifically haven't had a ton of clients who have wanted to do these kind of things. I did have one experience where a client was being told by somebody else to use these kind of not legitimate tactics. And I basically put my foot down and was like, that's not for me. That's not how I roll. I don't recommend rolling that way either. Ultimately, it ended up that it wasn't a good fit and we didn't continue working together. And I wish nothing but the best for that person. But it's something that is so deeply ingrained in me and in my values that it's just, I'm not going to sway on it. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if this is something that you've noticed yourself, either in your industry or in other industries. I'd love to hear any stories that you have. I've heard from my family members, my mom, my husband, they've had experiences like this that have just left them feeling kind of icky and not even wanting to interact with the person anymore. So something to keep in mind, something to focus on. couple of key takeaways. Number one, the two things to look out for in regards to sleazy marketing would be false urgency and scarcity, and pain point poking in order to manipulate somebody into buying from you from kind of a vulnerable state. And in order to make sure that you are building that trust with your audience, make sure that you're getting clear on your values, who you are, and find what feels really natural to you, a way of selling and marketing yourself that feels really natural to you, because that's something that your audience is going to pick up on. When it's something that feels good to you, it's going to feel good to them as well, which is so important. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. I want to take a quick moment just to thank you so much for joining me in this space, and just to encourage you that if there was anything that kind of sparked something for you, or that you felt like somebody that you know maybe needed to hear, please feel free to share the episode. And if you are excited to hear more, go ahead and subscribe and listen to more of the episodes. I'm so excited that you're here, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you.